Government finally succumbs to pressure, releases Anglophone detainees. The release signs this week orders the authorities concerned to set free Anglophone leaders who have been in detention for close to 8 months and others detained in connection with the Anglophone crisis. Barrister Agbombala, Dr. Fontem Aniba, Paul Ayabine and others are now free. Meanwhile, Mancho, BBC and others are still in detention, and Cameroonians are asking why. It is impossible for any Cameroonian to register on the electoral list after August 31, which means that the electoral register have been closed for the year 2017. The program is News Roundup of the Week. Still this. Hello everyone, I'm Ndih Maureen, and as usual, I'm delighted to be with you. My guest on today's program is Ndih Clovis. He is a regular face you've always seen on the program. You're welcome to News Roundup of the Week.
Thank you, Maureen.
Now, how did you come in with your Muslim brothers, knowing that they celebrated the Feast of the Ram this week?
Well, I think by the time I was coming here, they were still in the mosque. So it's not yet celebration time, but I think most of them are really happy because they have gone through tight and thin, and they are making their feast today.
And most of them say the Feast of the Ram is coming on the eve of back to school, so that caught in the middle, which means it's a little bit difficult.
Difficult. I think we can see that based on the level of rams that they usually kill. I think this time it's not really like what we used to have. No, most often we used to see so many people celebrating in grand style, but I think this year is really tough.
But at least you tasted the ram.
Yeah.
You have to taste of the ram. Barrister Agbombala, Dr. Fontem Niba, and Paul Abine and other Anglophone detainees are out of the detention camp. How they walked out of detention camp. It is a report of Beatrice Ngamo from Yaoundé.
Manipulating the remote control seems a little bit strange. Chief Justice Paul Abine, in the sitting room of his own house this afternoon of August 31st at the Tamtam neighborhood in Yaoundé, continuing his habitual action, brought to a sudden stop some 8 months ago following his arrest and detention. Chief Justice Paul Abine, a free man today. Happiness, sadness, coldness, the atmosphere at his house.
My feelings are the same feelings your wife can have. If you are away for 8 months, you come back. How do you say? How do you feel? Even you seeing her. Because for 8 months, we were separated. He was there, no phone, nothing. So we did not even know. We go to him 3 times a day. But when we come here and sleep, we don't know what happens there at night until the next morning. So today is free. I have to thank God. I cannot say that I'm not happy. I'm happy. And I'm also sad because of his health.
The Almighty was the only hope, and he has given them victory.
God has done it for me. God has judged the case because he's the right judge. Nobody can judge like him. Nobody can twist anything. God has proven innocent. He always said that I'm innocent. My wife, I'm innocent. But God has proven, because today they told him that you have done nothing in front of me. That go, you are a free man.
Justice Paul Abine is just quiet at his own corner, and it is the son and wife who reacts to the worries of journalists. Same son who informed reporters that the father they were waiting at the National Gendarmerie is home already.
The colonel who came and took him, who came up to arrest him here, is the one who brought him back today. It's the same person who brought him back. That they want to come and leave him in the house. Then we entered the car and came here.
A great reunion between the militants of PAP and party chair. Action Party, the spirit that took Paul on his feet to greet his comrades.
BAP, action! BAP, action, action! BAP! Action, action, action now!
Chief Justice Paul Abine, Advocate General at the Supreme Court and President of PAP Party, is now a free man following the discontinuance of his proceedings pending before the Yaoundé Military Tribunal by the head of state after a release yesterday, charged amongst others with terrorism, propagation of false information and instabilities in the two Anglophone regions. The release of the others concerned still awaited.
Les militants du PAP, le parti fondé par Paul a...
It was at about 8 a.m. this morning, September 1, 2017, that a bus carrying the leaders of the Anglophone struggle, Barrister Agbombala, Dr. Fontemiba, alongside 10 formerly detained Anglophones, drove into the premises of the governor's office of the Southwest region. The leaders, arrested 7 months ago in the wake of the Anglophone crisis, alighted to a joyful population comprised of family members, friends and well-wishers. Led by Barrister Agbombala, the former Kondengi cell occupants were received by the governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Okalabilai. It was an emotional moment as the former detainees reunited with family and friends. Such was the case with the wife of Dr. Fontemiba.
With God's help, we have been able to overcome it.
Please describe to us how you feel right now.
I am excited. I lack words. I don't know what to say. I'm so grateful to God Almighty who has made this day possible when we least expected, because we did not expect that it would happen so sudden. But God has made it possible, as he said. To him, 1,000 days, what he can do in 1,000 days, he can as well do it in 1 day. And he has done it for us and our heart.
In his absence?
In his absence, God has been sustaining us. Friends have supported us. Churches have prayed for us to help us stand. And we have been able to stand. And we have been able to stand, and thanks be to God. We give him all the glory.
In time, people have received the release of these detainees with joy, but have said the joy will be complete if all the other prisoners are released.
These people have been released, but my opinion, even though I'm not a lawyer, is that since the charges against those who have been released and some of those who are still in jail were merged into one lawsuit, and then later on the head of state has said the charges are being dropped, my expectation was that the charges will be dropped for all the accused persons. So I'm sure the population is still waiting that the remainder of the accused persons to be released.
It should be noted, they were later taken to their respective homes where a reception awaits them. The people of Kumbo in the northwest region of Cameroon have applauded the presidential decree releasing Anglophone detainees, but say the timing is wrong.
I think that is a decision people have been longing for. And if finally the head of state has decided to change his mind, we ought to congratulate him for. And take this as a fatherly decision.
Arrested. I'm grateful.
The people are worried on the fate of Anglophone detainees as they ask questions if the decree englobes all Anglophone detainees.
Is that I still have a question mark. Mainly because some of the people are released from the jail and others are still there. So it surprised me and it wonders me. Why? If the president has decided to release the victim, let all the victims be out. And we will see how the condition will look like. Not keeping others in the cell again, releasing others. Really, they started something. And they have not ended with what they started. So releasing these people, for me, it doesn't make sense.
As concerns the resumption of classes come September 4, 2017, the people express uncertainty.
The parents who wish that their parents, I mean, I don't think that it was the parents that kept these children indoors. I am also a parent, but my own children are in. Others we are in Yaoundé. I mean, so others came from Yaoundé, but I already my relatives they have already sent come and collect their things back to Yaoundé. So I don't know how the situation will look like. Others my children are here, so I don't think that well. We live to see, and I'm still waiting. I'm waiting, because for me, I cannot send my child to school.
The people say it is impossible for their children to study in a militarized campus.
I'm not today. I'm seeing so many army around. I don't think our school will go under this situation.
People of Kombo believe this is the first concrete step for solutions for the Anglophone crisis.
Ordained by the President of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Biya, Anglophone activists arrested as a result of the Anglophone question have been ordered to leave their detention centers. The presidential decree has been welcomed with mixed interpretations by some Cameroonians. The crisis that has dragged on for more than 10 months has left untold socio-economic consequences through the English-speaking part of Cameroon. Even the civil society thinks the release of the leaders is a commendable thing, though not an end to dialogue. Coming at the eve of school resumption, the people think the imminent release of the consortium leaders and some others arrested in connection through the question in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon must not be an end to the quest for the recognition of the place of the Anglophone as a true citizen in Cameroon.
The government delegate to the Bamenda City Council has begun sealing the sheds of leaders of market traders syndicates. Bamenda town got up this morning to discover these white sheets of paper placed on the doors of all the main market sheds facing the commercial avenue.
That's the administration, not all of the city council, but of the region, of the division, and of this country in general. We will also impose a certain kind of penalty against you people, and that's the reason why the markets of the Bamenda City Council was closed today, so that they take up the measurement of respecting ghost town up to even 3 days by people who have no direct relationship with them. And in addition to that, we've selected all the leaders of the various unions within the market, and we are going to seal all their sheds.
To the municipal administrator, the move is pursuant to a warning during a meeting last Saturday with traders in which he made known his intentions to put the sheds on the sale. The whole of this Tuesday, all the 4 markets and other sheds run by the City Council have remained locked and their environs coming under security surveillance. Since the advent of the Anglophone crisis over 9 months ago, the Bamenda City Council has been in deep financial mess, as it is now difficult to collect daily tolls, monthly rents, parking fee, while the council police, out of fear, can no longer impound vehicles from where the council raises revenue. The decision to close down shop has met with backlash from traders.
It told us that if we are sitting in their house, we should know that we are killing some of the people. But us, we say that we are not killing nobody. We have not complained. He said that if we are not killing nobody, we are killing some of the people. We say that is lie. Then later on, he said that if we does not want to come and open our shop on Monday, if our shop keep on locked, he will come and help us and lock it for us. All of us, we have to say, let it be. It's the time for our government to really see into this crisis and bring it out of us. Our children are suffering. We are suffering. The poor are suffering. The widows are suffering. The orphans are suffering. Let them stop it.
Some bike riders who are affected by the current state of affairs also grounded their bike activities directly opposite the main market gate in solidarity with the traders. Vincent Ndih, who thought the traders were going to ignore last week's call for a 3-day ghost town, was shocked when the traders instead obeyed the calls for full ghost town operations.
In spite of last Saturday's threat by the government delegate to the Bamenda City Council to seize shops of traders who do not open their sheds, as from this Monday, August 28, all the traders have stood their grounds and maintained their shops locked. A tour through the 1,000 sheds in the 4 markets and other sheds run by the City Council saw only the offices of the market masters open. The police and the gendarmerie are patrolling the streets, which are all deserted, but for a few taxis and motorcycles in circulation.
Welcome back. With me in the studio is Clovis Azee. Now, Anglophone detainees are free at last. Now, were you surprised by that decision?
Well, I'm not very surprised because that is the request of the people since day one. And I think a government of good faith is supposed to do so and respond to the plight or the problems of the people. And I think for the problems to be solved, that is the first step by getting the people released and come back to dialogue.
So which means that it's good news, but let's look at the timing.
Yeah, it's good news to everyone, yeah, but it's not really good news because we always, we always wait when things get rough, the things get deteriorated before we try to seek for immediate solutions, fabricated solutions. I think it was not even supposed to get to this stage if we were really, really serious about managing the crisis.
So, good news, but at the wrong timing.
The timing is wrong for me. It's too late, too late. Even
Why?
though, well,
Why?
it's
Why is it
better
too
to be
late?
late. Well, I think this was supposed, I don't even see why they were even being kept there for too long. It is something that we're supposed to see. It's as if now the government is pushed to the wall and because of school resumption, they are now being forced to do things the way they did not want to do, or maybe due to other pressure. But I think it was not supposed to be under pressure that the government is doing what it's doing. I believe we are living in a democratic world, in a democratic country where it is government for the people, by the people, and therefore the people are supposed to be given their right.
So some people are seen as a condition for school release or school resumption, rather.
Of course, some people say that, but to me,
Is that what you think?
I think that is something that is supposed to be done. It's not only because of school resumption or whatsoever, but maybe from the timing, it shows that maybe the government is pushed to the wall because schools are probably, the way we look at things, may not start on the 4th, and they think that may be a method to appease the Anglophones so some of them can go back to school.
But now, not everybody was released.
Not everybody was released, but at least some people have been released, and it's already a plus. Maybe in due time the others will be released. But as I said, to me, it was not supposed to get to this stage.
Now we talk with Cameroonians in the southwest and northwest region of Cameroon, and the one that everybody should be released. Everybody concerned with the Anglophone crisis that was picked up, and prison cells should be released.
It's very correct. That is what should be done. I don't see why the law should not favor everybody. If we are living in a state of law, we should live in a state of law. If the government or the president says that people should be released and proceedings should not continue, I don't see why low-class citizens will be left in jail while the high-class citizens should be released. I don't see that. It means that we are working in a lawless country, or where justice is not meted to everybody equally.
Let's look at the case of Mancho BBC.
Yeah, I don't know why he's still kept there. Maybe the government has reasons for keeping him there, which are personally known to the government. And I don't know why they are not disclosing, because it's over 100, maybe 200 and something days that he's under detention. And I think it is really, really, really sad to know that somebody can be detained in the country for that length of time without really knowing his crime.
Now, the fact that the case was in court and the government or the president ordered that they be released, does it mean that they had no crime? There's no reason why they were being detained?
Well, I'm not an investigator, or what you call a lawyer to cross-examine them. But I think from my observation, there is something behind the scene, because when you follow the case as it has been going from the beginning, you realize that at some point the government started Like the last court case, from what I got from maybe other sources or social media, saying that they were not in a military court. They were sent to the Kundingi High Court, and maybe some statements were made that the government had no idea of detainees and things like that. It's really a sad situation that somebody can be detained for this length of time, and maybe the Minister of Justice or the Justice Department is not aware of what is really going on, and it is as if they are coming, or they came to realize it of recent. It's really poor the way things are really handled in terms of justice and management. It shows clearly that we have innocent people in jail behind bars which are not supposed to be there, I believe. And more to that, it is also a clear proof that the government of Cameroon has given much powers to the president, and only the decree of a president is supposed to free people. I think that is wrong. It was supposed to be the Justice Department and maybe the president of the High Court, or maybe the Supreme Court or something of that sort, to decree such that these people are free and are supposed to go, and not the president. The president is...
And now some Cameroonians think that it is time for government to go into a genuine, inclusive and fruitful dialogue.
That is what a good government would do. If I was in the position of the government or the president, I think that would be the best thing to do, to save the dignity of the country.
Now, go into dialogue with the same people, the same leaders that have just been freed.
They started
dialogue. Do you
dialogue.
think it's the best thing to do?
They started discussing, and maybe along the line, something came up, and which is really questionable, that people are not free to express themselves, talking about maybe federalism, the system of government, and whatsoever. I think in a developed world where people are supposed to grow, when we have to question the government, that you have to ask questions. Why is this like this? Because people, when you look at it now, it is a clear proof that most of the Anglophones are really, really, really suffering, and all of them, if not all, majority, are behind what is really going on. Because you look at recently, the shops were closed and people were instead happy going home in Bamenda. That is really a clear, look, just imagine, for the length of time that they have been put in jail, people, we still experience ghost towns all over. It is a clear proof that the people that way are not satisfied. So I think the government should do something, and even more than what they have done.
Now, going into negotiation with who? The same leaders, or have new leaders come up?
I think it is, if we say we go into negotiations, that is
dialogue. Let me talk of dialogue.
Or dialogue, that is going back to what we had already done years back, and up till even recently. We know that the bishops and everybody, the bishops wrote a memorandum that they sent to the president. Even the people who are liberated today, they had their points, and they had points that they were discussing on, and maybe they said one or some few points had problems, or they were not, the government was not satisfied with, and therefore they should go back to those points that they were not satisfied with. Maybe the government has reflected, seeing that those points were really supposed to be implemented, and therefore go ahead to implement the points.
Now, do you see the release as some sort of a political appeasement for the Anglophones?
It is a right for the people to be freed, not a political appeasement. How can people be appeased when it is their right to be freed? It is their right.
But you know as well that government has taken some measures to appease the people.
Yeah, it is the right of the people. It is the right of the people. What I understood, or what I followed from time immemorial, because I'm just I'm not an activist, I'm just an observer.
A Cameroonian
giving his point of view. What I observe is a point of really on federation, which is supposed to deal with the manner in which the government or the people of Anglophone are treated in the government. That is after the 1961 independence, leading to 1972 and up to even 1991 of the present date. The way the Anglophones are treated, to me, I think that is the problem, and that is what the leaders or the consultative members were putting forward, that the judicial system is really tampered with, and they said Francophone magistrates should be removed from the courts. Francophone teachers should be removed from the classes or classrooms where they are supposed to teach Anglophone children. And those are genuine points that, to me, I think is very correct, because if somebody says something has a problem, and we don't go to examine the problem, we just go ahead arresting them and saying that they are not supposed to talk about such, to me, it is as if we are dealing in a dictatorial system of government.
Now, what is the way forward?
The way forward is just go back to the Accord Committee that was formed by the Prime Minister and implement the points on what the consultative members were demanding for. If not, you realize that the vast majority of the people would turn, instead of the federalist or federation that they were requesting, most of them, like now we are seeing protesters all around the world going that they want separation. To me, I think going to separation will really cause us a big deal and will really weigh on the government. I think the government is better placed to decide now what it really wants, because the people have proven that if they don't have federation, they will go in for separation. And if we don't take care, civil war may rise.
And that's not what we want.
That's not what we want.
We want government to take measures and see how we can appease the people, and peace or calm is back in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Now, August 31, 2017 marked the end of the registration on the electoral list for the year 2017, according to Elecam officials. 6,367,750 Cameroonians have so far registered on the electoral list, responding to earlier calls in July as Cameroonians registered in 2013. Let's watch this report. We'll be right back.
Authorities of the elections governing body Elecam will this August 31st end the registration of Cameroonians into the electoral register for the year 2017. 6,367,750 registered, responding to earlier calls in July, according to the figures made public by Elecam. Political scientists have been analyzing the situation. Once certain persons don't declare their intentions to run for elections, it can hinder some voters who want to vote for certain candidates. We have seen certain civil society activists launching massive campaigns. But do candidates feel concerned about this? Sometimes we are even taken by surprise that certain party militants themselves are not registered. On the other hand, the debate on the credibility of the process is also a bone of contention. Some actors have called for the revision of the electoral code, while others have demanded for more transparency. It is true that there has always been this debate that results are known beforehand. This is not very true because we understand the circumstances under which a party wins the election. What citizens must understand is that their vote is very important and it counts in determining different aspects of national life. A situation very complex which adds up to the sometimes inconsistent elections calendar. The stakes are high as 4 elections comes up this 2018. We have to also understand that for the upcoming year, the release from the Electoral Committee stops registration on the electoral list. The only problem is that we have 4 elections in the upcoming year. In less than 48 hours, the registration into the electoral list will close for the year 2017, and Elecam actors have encouraged Cameroonians to register till the last minute.
Elections in Cameroon is marred by fraud. There is no need to register on the electoral list when the results are known ahead of time. Change is far-fetched. These are some among many other reasons advanced by some Cameroonians explaining the high voter apathy. I don't think anything will change. It does not interest me. It is waste of time. I will not register on the electoral list and give the council the opportunity to embezzle. Some Cameroonians have lost hope and are unsatisfied with the present regime. Facts, others seem to contrast. They have been criticizing the present regime, but I think this time around they are realizing several projects aimed at ameliorating the conditions of the people. Faced with all these problems, some Cameroonians think the solution is in the ballot boxes. I believe in change. In 2018, it is a critical moment for Cameroon. It is my civic right to vote as a Cameroonian. Cameroonians of voting age should go to the ballot boxes and cast their votes. If they want to realize their dreams or hope for the future, they need to impact change. I am used to voting and I will always vote. I want things to change in Cameroon. That's why I chose to register on the electoral list. As a countdown to the close of the revision of the voters list on August 31, 2017 narrows, some Cameroonians are still planning to do so, but continue to question the transparency of Electoral. It is not late. I can still go and register on the electoral list. My problem is time. I don't know where to find an Electoral registration unit. Political and social critics have called on Electoral to multiply strategies to get more potential voters registered before the close of voter revision on August 31, 2017.
Grant that their death may give us the courage not to be afraid of those who can kill the body and cannot kill the soul. May they rest in peace. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer.
God has certainly heard the prayers of the people of the Sota Kingdom, particularly those of Abibio quarters, greatly affected by the landslide that swept across the kingdom, carrying houses, farmlands, animals and humans. 3 weeks after the devastating landslide, they committed it to God, who knows everything. It all began at the St. Stanislaus Mission of the Holy Cross Parish in Genchen on August 26, 2017, with a Thanksgiving Mass said by the parish priest, Father Bangolang Jean-Paul. The natural disaster that affected the kingdom can only be explained by God, the Reverend told them. And in praises and songs, they thank God for his blessings to the kingdom. And as the mass ended, the villagers drifted towards the community square to receive relief assistance from goodwill donors who manifested their solidarity with their Sota disaster victim. Hot tears of joy brooding down the cheeks of this lady as she received relief assistance from the community and goodwill donors following the devastating landslide that swept across the village of Eswata. Her husband has not been found till today. With 6 children, amongst whom a set of twins, she is desperately in need of assistance to raise these children.
I don't have anything in my life again. I have 6 children plus myself, this 7. Up to now like this, I don't have something to eat, even to go and harvest. There is nothing again in my life.
This other lady is now the lone surviving child of the family.
I'm remaining alone. My mother gave birth to 8 children. She are very poor. I'm remaining alone. So I don't know if the community can even put hand there. So I thank them for what they have done for us.
It all took place at the Sota Village Square on August 26, 2017, with the distribution of disaster relief assistance to all the victims.
Given the degree of the disaster, we're trying to grade and see who is more touched so that he benefits or she benefits a little bit more than the other person. And to come out with that is not easy. Given that some people lost their farmlands, cassava farms, cocoa farms and all the like. And if you look at their source of income, you will realize that somebody with a cassava farm, you may be minimizing it because you think that it is someone with a cocoa farm who has more loss. But you will realize that a woman with a cassava farm has that as its all and all for her life. So to come out with a balance is not easy.
We send some people to the front to come and assess the people who are actually concerned with the disaster. And so we have come now to confirm the names and see the real people who are actually involved in affected by the disasters. So we sort out their names and see what we can do following the gifts and the kind of things we want to offer.
Coordinated by the president of the Sota Cultural and Development Association, allocating the resources was not an easy task for the community.
We have a variety of items, I mean, tuned to the needs of those who are victims. We have mattresses, we have pots, we have roofing sheets,
farm tools,
we have farm tools, and many other things. These are most of the things that a victim lost in the flood.
The phone of Eswata, His Majesty Asongtia, used the occasion to pour his traditional blessings to the people and wish them success.
I just put some traditional blessing in order to give thanks to God and thank those who contributed enormously for us to provide this assistance to the affected victims in the lower part of this kingdom who were all affected, particularly to the family that lost their lives and those who lost their houses and their farmland.
The assistance was just the tip of the iceberg of an avalanche of needs to the victims and the people of the lower part of the Eswata kingdom. Well, we are just here at the village square in Eswata. This is Foreke Down, if you like, call it Agbebua. Now the people are coming from the celebration to distribute goods to the victims of the very devastating floods that swept across the division. And of course, the people unanimously agree that they are happy with this gesture that is coming from the community. And of course, all this was championed by the paramount leader of Eswata, His Majesty Asongtia, Kejang Henry Atembe, for Canada English in Eswata.
Welcome back. Back here with me in the studio is Clovis. He is a fisher by profession. We're talking about Elecam and the 2017 registration. The electoral list has come to an end. Did you register or have you registered on the electoral list?
I always register.
Now, what motivates you? What encourages you? What pushes you to register?
Well, it's a civic right for people to register and vote. But I don't belong to any political party, and if, in case there are elections, I don't deem any candidate, I think it is also very correct for somebody to stand for a null vote.
Now, what will push Cameroonians not to register?
Well,
you have a lot of friends who are yet to register.
Well, I cannot say because I don't know exactly what each and every person does specifically every day. I don't know those who have not registered or those who have registered. But I think from the statistics you've given us, saying that 6 million is far below the number or the population we expect, or the number we expect people to register. I believe it's just due to one reason or two, to me. Because when you look at the elections, 2018 is coming where we are supposed to have presidential elections. That is the most prominent and things like that. Even if we have municipal elections and the rest, you just see the same faces coming up the same time. And to me, that is really a big problem. People are tired of seeing the same faces, the same people all the time. Maybe they change from this domain to the other domain and next. And that is why people know. And most people already know that, well, the same people, if A does not win, it will be B. And A and B may be the same people. So I think
but by not voting or by not registering on the electoral list, you're not helping the country as well.
Of course, but it's for the country to look at why people are not registering. Because it's supposed to be asked by the people. If really they want people to register, they will really try to seek the opinion of people and see why they don't want to register and go in for elections. But to me, the second point I think is maybe the Elecam itself has a problem, because I don't see Elecam should be, or is supposed to be, an independent body, as they claim to be. But the members of Elecam are being appointed by the President of the Republic, who is a candidate for the presidential election. To me, I see that that is already a go-ahead and a step forwarding, step to actually favor, because somebody cannot appoint you and you turn around to say the person is not fit to be the president of the country. To me, I think that is already a go-ahead to the ruling party.
That's why people are just like reluctant.
Yes, because most people
change can only come from the ballot box.
Change can come from the ballot box, but who are those to proclaim the result? The president of the judiciary, the head of judiciary is the president who appoints the members of the Electoral. So it's just turning around the same people, and they give you what they want.
Now we are on the eve of back to school, and the ambience in bookshops and markets and schools is just low key, and parents are complaining of financial stress. Let's watch this report. We'll be right back. With smiles on your faces, these nursery school teachers design decorative objects for their pupils, these to attract and adapt them to their new environments as classes resume on September 4.
We are preparing gallants to arrange our class to welcome our kids on Monday.
1 week to the start of another school year, some schools in Cameroon's economic city Douala can be taken for a graveyard. It is the case with government primary school Bonopriso and government primary school Newbel Aviation 1. The head teacher reassures.
If I'm in the office, it means that we are waiting for the children. So I think on the 4th of September they will be there.
Most head teachers complain of timid registration on the part of parents.
The only situation that we are facing today is many parents who are coming for registration do not know how to read the name of the child on the list. That's why they need, for most of the time, assistance. That's why some of them are hungry because they do not see the name of their children on the list of class.
Most schools we visited, whether primary or secondary, infrastructure is the major worry. Some buildings are under construction, while some are under rehabilitation. But the question is whether they will meet up to the September 4 deadline.
We are just trying today to improve the infrastructure of the situation so that on Monday 4th, all the classrooms will be ready.
Another problem is lack of quality teachers and didactic material.
A major problem is teacher. We are willing that our minister sends many trained teachers here, because most of the teachers here in school are not well trained. We are expecting to receive teachers who are coming from ENS Bambili, ENS Yaoundé, or ENS Mawa. No students who are graduated in University of Douala or so on.
The filthy nature of some campuses leaves much to be desired. The mass water and modern environment, the school authorities say need to be evacuated before September 4. As administrative staff resumed duty Monday, August 28, focus was on a hitch-free school year come September 4. Even this ice cream vendor is set for another school year.
The gates of school premises are wide open, but the candidates visibly not present. Parents fear registering their kids for the 2017-2018 academic year in the Southwest region following the Anglophone crisis.
Last year I registered them, they did not even go to school. I paid all their fees, the money went in vain. So this year I'm afraid to even register them too.
The usual effervescence that characterizes markets few days to back to school is visibly absent at the Mutingene market. This area, which was occupied by booksellers, now inhabits dealers in dresses. Parents tell us the safety of their kids is paramount.
We are afraid. We are afraid of what we are seeing out there. We are afraid. We are afraid because the reaction of the people out there, the way they are doing things, maybe we need security for our children. So without security, it's needless for you to maybe to risk the life of your child. Better they stay back at home in order you see that there's total security. But if the government can assure us there's security, then we are sure that maybe the children go out of the house or come back safely, or sending the children that will be no problem. Then I don't see anything because that is our future. So there's no need keeping them in the house.
Some businessmen involved in the sale of second-handed books were compelled to switch because nobody was asking for books.
Nobody is asking for books and all the children are out. So we could not sell books because nobody is willing to buy. For now, I've been carrying books to the market, but nobody is even asking. I've changed and diverted the small business I was doing. I'm selling now the toothbrush, polish, and many other things that I'm just managing.
The young people are ready to go to school, but say they are uncertain.
I want to go to school September because I want to be a better person in the future. I have heard that it is not safe to go to school, but I want to go to school.
The school campuses are now heavily guarded by elements of law and order. The government has assured parents necessary measures will be put in place to ensure the security of their kids. The shelves are still filled with textbooks of primary, secondary and tertiary levels of studies. This bookseller comes to work every day but tells us sales have drastically dropped.
When you compare the book season this year to that of last year, there's a big difference because by this time last year, we already have customers, parents were coming in and out to get books for their children. But this year, it's so difficult. Even the book that I bought last year, most of them were not sold. You can see the stock line here. This is a book I bought last year, and they're still lying there. So I'm afraid to buy more.
They tell us the few customers they have are those from neighboring French-speaking cities or parents who have decided to transfer their kids to nearby French cities due to the Anglophone crisis.
Comparatively to other years where normally we used to have a very huge sale within this period. But since this crisis started, it has been a very tough time for us. I'm sure we don't sell. Most of the customer, presently we have customers from Douala. As concerning the Anglophone area, we had almost zero sales.
The book vendors regret a drop in their revenue.
It has affected our revenue in a very hyper rate because the company has gone on loan, and we sure they have received loans from banks and other financial institutions. They couldn't even recover, they couldn't even pay because they cannot even sell.
Others tell us the fear of parents whether or not school will resume in September is what is killing businesses.
People are not buying books because they are afraid that school might not start this academic year. So they want to see whether the school will start before they start buying. Yes. It has affected my business because I've not even stocked the books. They have not even come. Every day will come and sit like that. We don't even see any buyer.
We equally visited vendors in the sale of school shoes at the Mutengene market who tell us business is dead. As the countdown narrows, these businessmen dealing in school accessories hope the situation would improve for their businesses to go back to normal and for them to start making profits.
Parents have a major influence on a child's upbringing, more importantly in the child's education. Pedagogy counselors see the absence of a parent in a child's academic guidance makes them insecure, which affects their well-being in general.
The big problem is that parents are more absent in houses, and then they are supposed to be present. Many times you see that they are going to find money. Mother is out, father is out, but they are not there. They leave all children in house alone, and then they are supposed to be there to guide them. When they are not there, they think that there is nobody. They can do like they want, and then it's not good.
In Cameroon, 1 parent on 10 follow up their children and monitor their studies in school and at home. Most parents have blamed this on work-related commitments. The central question is why would parents run for money and end up having rebels as children?
Ce qui fait le plus problème, c'est le travail des parents parce qu'on a constaté que
the major problem is that parents concentrate more on their job and the child is abandoned to himself. He does what he wants and he develops an attitude, and the parent does not realize that the child's performance drops in school, he becomes a rebel.
Qui influence sur l'éducation des enfants, c'est l'absence de parents.
Parents, nous ignorons beaucoup de choses.
Parents should be the one to follow up their children's homework, class assignments, and even behavior. And the parents' teacher-child relationship should be built in such a way that the child feels secure at every level, while presenting a guide on how parents can better follow up their children at home and in school. This pedagogy counselor insists the first educator is the parent, teachers, mentors, and other people from their community should come second to add to the foundation which a parent has laid. This is how the town of Ndih in the Adamawa region looks like less than 1 week to school resumption. The usual hustle and bustle that characterizes back to school is yet to be felt. In shops, bookshops, markets and other sale points, customers are hard to find. It is still timid. We are still waiting for parents. Most parents have complained of financial hardship, and this is further compounded by the delay in the August salary, which makes it difficult for them to buy for their children. Muslim parents, on their part, are in the middle of two big events, back to school and the Feast of the Ram. Some parents, like Muhammadu, are forced to buy from vendors of second-hand textbooks. Second-hand textbooks are really cheaper. With 500-1,000 francs, it's easy to do the exchange. To curb speculations and high prices, the delegate of trade has set up sporadic sale points. Our collaborators on the field go to markets and shops and ensure that there are no speculations, because we will not tolerate that. As a resumption date gets closer, parents are getting more and more stressed up with back-to-school preparation. Welcome back. I'm still accompanied by Zek Lovis. He is a teacher by profession. Now, how ready are you to receive students on Monday, September 4, 2017?
Okay, I would say I'm very ready to teach and welcome my students because God bless, I'm in Douala or in the Electoral region where I can say we don't really have a big problem. But if you look at it critically, you realize that the turnout this year has really dropped.
Why?
In terms of preparation, turnout for preparation. But in registration for students, you realize that the schools around Electoral, they are really increasing, because when I went back to my school, look at the population. From one as already, we have gone so many classes, far more than expected. So I think there is population overflow this way.
Is the same thing with the evening school you're running?
Well, I think for the evening school, you know, we cannot talk now in terms of population, the evening school. You know, most students, they usually come by October, since now they are preparing for those in the normal day school and things like that. But for the evening school or evening section, I think we are perfectly prepared and students are really registering, and we will start come September 4th like any other program. No, we even are supposed to start earlier, but due to the crisis last year, we had really problems because majority of the students boycotted school. So financially and every other aspect, things are not really easy.
You had to pay the price.
We had to pay the price, and therefore we could not start 1-2 weeks before the official date to start. You know, we are dealing with mature people who actually, or elderly people with low maybe IQ and things like that. So we usually push 1-2 weeks before time, and during holidays try to catch up the program and see how they can go for that.
Now, we have so many schools from our reporters on the field that are obliging parents to buy sportswears and uniforms in school, which is banned by government, and it's a condition for them to register their children. What's your take on that?
It's not correct. It's not correct. We you know, school, as I usually say, school these days is basically run by most often business people and not the real teachers who are supposed to. So you realize that it is not only the high prices of schools, because you go around littoral, the center regions, you realize that fees for students are extremely high, 100 and something. 200,000 francs to afford to pay the fees of a child. But when you go back to the northwest and southwest regions, where I'm talking as an Anglophone,
the same school and the quality education,
and even better education costs less than what is this way. And actually, you can really see the cry of the people.
But there are parents who think that maybe when the fee is high, that's where they go for, there is quality education in that school. And when you look at the school where the fee is a little bit low, no, they think that maybe the teachers can't teach well.
I think that is the problem with most Francophones.
That is how they evaluate the schools.
Yes, they evaluate schools in terms of the fees and population. Yes, and most often you realize that schools that perform better are the ones that actually are not really solicited. It's just of recent that some parents are now really seeing the importance of even checking or cross-checking the results of some schools. Because you see some schools, what do? They just go to media, go to their publicity papers and flyers and things like that. Réussite 100% or 90%, 80%, and parents, they don't have that time to cross-check actually who did and who did not do. Some schools even go to the extent of reducing the candidates that they send in to register for the exams, saying that we had 18 students or 10 students. I don't see how a normal school, a good school in Douala can have 10 students in Form 5 or upper seed, and then you are boasting that you're a school, that you want to hear 90%, 60%, 90%, 85%, 100%, and they say they are good schools. I don't see that, because even the evening school that we are struggling to put up, we registered up to about 50 students. So actually, it is really a problem, because most people always go with favor. You see some schools, they select the very brave ones from Form 1 to Form 5 or to upper seed, then register them as internal candidates. How can you say normal day school registering 5 students in Douala? It means that is not a school, because with 5 students, you cannot run a school. It's a big problem.
Now, what should be the criteria of selection for parents?
I think as a good parent, you need to look at the percentage, yes, but also look at the total number of students who registered in that school. How many passed, and they've made findings on those who failed, if actually that school did its job. Because some schools will see they don't even teach, students are complaining, and what is the next issue? Maybe 1, 2, 3 days before the exam, some of them have, I don't know how possible, but they have some techniques in doing special revision, and students go right what they call SPECO, and the SPECO where they say SPECO catch, then 100% comes up, and parents start running to go to such schools. I think we have good schools around. Look at the population of a school. Any school which has 40, even 30 students is, at least for a new start, is good. But you cannot have an old school that has been for 10 years, registering 15, 20, 30 students. Then it means there is a problem with that school. It should go up to 100. We are training Cameroonians. If you're a good school, you want to train people, it does not necessarily mean that people must pass, but give them the right training. Because I think if somebody is properly educated, the person must not necessarily pass exams. After all, there's a saying, examination is not the true test of knowledge.
Now, we have a registration. Let me take that. And we have PTA.
Okay.
We have schools who have PTA.
Levy.
That starts from 20,000. There's some 30, 35,000. And some of these schools are private schools.
Okay.
We have government schools and we have private schools. Is it normal for our schools to have that exorbitant rate of PTA?
Well, I'm not judging. I wouldn't want to judge the school, but I want to look or see the management of that amount of money. Because when you take, they say, PTA levy, and the parents are actually asked to pay such an amount of money, we need to know what the money is for. The PTA levy can be far more than that, depending on the population and also depending on the project of the school. A private school may have a project, let's say, to construct a new site, and the school does not have money. They call the parents and say, okay, PTA levy maybe for next year can be this amount, so that the students can contribute also a share to make the school better. But not that people just pay 20,000, it enters in the proprietor's pocket, he eats the money, and maybe don't even pay the salary of the teachers.
Now, as far as evening school is concerned, now, what category of children are concerned? It concerns everybody?
Well, adults who can take care of themselves, because we cannot talk of evening school where we know, because most people always complain of insecurity and so on. So in an evening school, those who are supposed to attend evening school are those who can take care of themselves, at least can even see or sense danger to leave the periphery, or even can assess or evaluate what is really happening. So I think we deal with mostly adults.
Your own school is situated in Douala?
In Douala and Ponamosadi.
All right. We want to thank you for honoring our invitation.
It's a pleasure, and I'm delighted.
All right. And to you, I will say thank you for watching. Take a rendezvous same time next week. Bye-bye.